cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host Slash, Freddie G, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. Welcome, fellas, to another True Tuesday episode. Man, I thought today, fellas, we'd discuss the issues that's been going on with airplanes and these aircrafts falling apart. You know, we're in 2024, and you wouldn't be expecting or thinking that you'd be hearing this type of news where flying is concerned, you know, because, you know, we modern technology got us, you know, ahead of the game. Well, not ahead of the game, but just up there pretty far in the game, rather, where that's concerned. So it just concerns me that, you know, it seems like every day or every other day you're seeing on the news where this plane either has crashed, a part or a piece has fallen off. Yeah, you know, and it just makes you wonder, because I already had some type of feeling about flying, you know, because I'm a pretty big dude. So just to be comfortable on a flight, whether it's 2 hours or 30 minutes, you know, just for somebody my size to be in a plane, and I think I mentioned before on a previous show, I kind of get claustrophobia, a feeling of claustrophobia sometimes, even when flying. So, you know, that was one issue I had. So now to also worry and wonder whether or not, you know, this plane that I'm on now is even going to make it to its destination without any issues or concern.
Now you claustrophobic, and now you ain't going to make it. Now, I'm going to be honest, K-Money, I don't know if you flew recently, but I'm already, like, on Spirit and Frontier, I'm claustrophobic. I don't know how you make it, and you're bigger than me, so I don't know if you've flown Spirit or Frontier.
I've flown Spirit once, bro, and
you paid for the extra space. You had to, because
I didn't. That was my first time flying Spirit, and I can understand why people do fly Spirit, but I felt some type of way about Spirit before I flew. I just didn't think I would definitely. I was gonna get my money's worth.
Yeah.
Meaning, you know.
Now you have no room, and I'm not that tall. I'm only like 5'10" myself, but it's no room. So I was looking. You were much taller than me. I'm trying to figure out how you even survive any hours on those type of flights.
So they've overcrowded the plane with seats because it's not enough leg room.
Like, it's literally like it's no space. The tray table even is like small. It's smaller than your laptop top. The tray table, or probably the size of your laptop top. That's not a table. That is a piece of iron.
Right.
You put your stuff on.
Yeah.
So it's different if you get the other tray tables. They have the cup holders inside of it. You put your cup on it. Ain't none of that. Just a little fat piece of iron.
So as far as
and it say good luck.
As far as leg room, is it
none?
I mean,
none. You can't stretch your legs out.
So it's not the size of any other aircraft that carries passengers.
Southwest, you have
they
some
have
leg
bigger
room.
Planes.
Yes.
Like, there are different size planes. They have all types of planes.
737s, 747s.
So what does Spirit fly?
They do the 747s, but they put more seats.
That's what I was saying.
They add more seats. Yeah, and they're close. They're very, very close.
They're trying to pack it
and get more money.
Right.
Since they're
out of the flight.
Since the flight is less money, they figure put more people.
Right.
To make up for.
Right.
In Southwest, you know, I think they have 34 on each side. I want to say they got 40 on each side.
I'm not sure those type of details. You know, like I say, my concern nowadays are more so the condition of the planes. You know, just recently, an engine cover off a Southwest airline flight from Houston to Denver came off. You know, and you just imagine you sitting on a plane and you looking out the window and you see this.
You see that flight?
This shit falling apart.
Lost your mind.
Yeah, your anxiety going
the
to the roof.
Of the flight, I'm done.
The other flight from this is the one. It was a short flight, so like we take a ferry. I might have gotten this wrong. It's either Detroit area. It's a very short flight, and it flies to. It's like a 10-minute flight. That's
So
it.
on those short flights, they use those very small planes with the propellers, right?
But it was a nice sized plane. It was a little bit smaller than the 747, but it still was a big plane.
Okay.
And the engine, just a little short flight, the engine caught fire that fast. I'm sorry, the lady landed incorrectly. That's what she did.
So it was on the pilot?
Yeah, it was on the pilot. When she landed, the way she came down, they said the landing gear, something about the landing gear, she opened it too late or something like that. And injuries, no deaths, but still pilots. You look at this. I know they say you can't drink or smoke, but in reality, do you think those pilots are not drinking or not smoking weed before the flights?
Well, I'm not gonna go that far as to say they're smoking weed, but I know. I know they're indulging in
something, you know.
Now,
So,
I'll
and especially if you got to stay up. I'm not saying cocaine, but
I'll tell you a story.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that's in that business
Mm-hmm.
that mention about some pilots and what they see them do or know that they do during flights, during layovers, till the next day they fly back out.
Mm-hmm.
They doing everything.
Yeah,
See?
I can believe it.
These people are human.
that's what I'm saying.
They are tooting powder,
I mean, you look at the hours that they work. And,
Yes.
smoking weed,
Yeah,
drinking. They doing it all.
they human just like
The
us.
pilot that's flying you now 3,000 miles across the country. Last night was tooting powder, smoking weed, and drinking.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say 100% of them. That's just like saying one bad apple cake. You know, it's some good pilots out there, but I feel what you guys
Man,
are
it's
saying.
a
There
lot
are
of
some
them
out there that's doing that shit.
Well,
It's a
shit.
lot of them out there
Look at
freaking with
Why
the
can't we say
stewardess.
one bad apple? One bad apple. It works for cops.
I mean, that's-
One
yeah.
bad cop ruined it for all
No,
the good
that's why I
ones.
said that. You know, because there are some good cops out there. We know.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's this thing. It's some good cops, but that one bad one
What about
Spoil a bunch.
spawned the bunch. Same thing with the man.
Because you don't know when he flying you.
Yeah.
You don't know when you getting on his plane. So not just the stuff falling off.
Right.
You still got to deal with a pilot that might fall off.
Yeah. So I make sure
You
in
know
my
what I
flights
mean?
are between 11 and 1, 11 and 2, because I know you up. I don't do red eye flight, late
Them
night
late
flights.
night flights?
No,
Nah.
no.
Well, those are the ones that you know.
It used to be dark when the flames.
I don't have a
be
problem
going.
with the late night flights. You know, my issue again is just making sure that I'm comfortable for however long I got to be on that motherfucker.
Right.
But let's talk again about the planes falling apart. The maintenance workers, the guys that's actually doing works on these planes. Do you think they qualified, or you think they doing the same shit
I
the pilots
think it
doing?
starts there. you need to check.
I mean, because it's
who's
happening
working
too
on it.
often, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's not just no isolated occurrences that we hearing. It's
Right.
a lot of the same shit going on. You know, different aircraft.
And it's happening too much now.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
Like, go
so
ahead.
I think that qualify, right? But K Money, I want to jog your memory.
Okay.
Think about when we were stationed on North Island, and think about the squadrons we were in.
Right.
I was in a S3 squadron, which is a jet squadron, and you were in a Helo squadron,
Correct.
right? Which is a helicopter squadron.
Correct.
Think about the guys that was doing maintenance on those aircraft.
Yeah,
That
they
we
were
work
always
with.
doing PMS.
Now, you know, I worked as an AZ, so I was the guy that actually assigned the work orders.
Okay.
I'm the one who keep track of all of the history of the aircraft and when maintenance schedule work is due. So I tell the workers, hey, you need to perform this inspection. You need to do this inspection. And I write up, back in the day, they had what they call viz maths. And so I write up all of the work orders and stuff, but I kept the history of the aircraft. So every time I see something going on with these aircrafts, I always tell my wife, I say, well, that AZ got a bunch of work to do. Or if an aircraft...
When you hear stories.
Yeah, or when the aircraft crashes, right? And they got to go look for that infamous black box and all that.
that would be your work?
I would tell my wife, I would like, well, they're going to go straight to that AZ and ask for all of his records. You better make sure his stuff is on point and he didn't miscalculate stuff. Let me give you an example of something, right? Mm-hmm. So you got an aircraft with 2 engines, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Now, these engines, they all got their own odometer, mm-hmm. right, on each engine. So let's say these are brand new engines and the odometer reads 0 on each engine, right? Mm-hmm. So this engine flies miles and miles and miles across the country, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you have what you call your 7-day inspections, 14, 21, and so forth, right? Right. Well, let's say one of these engines, the maintenance is going on good and everything is up to par. But one of these engines, one day they take off and they have a bird strike. A bird flies into the intake of the engine. And that happens quite often. Yep, that happens a lot, right? Right. Now, let's say it's so bad that they have to actually replace the engine. So they take the whole let's say they take the whole engine off and put a brand new, hypothetical, they put a brand new engine on. Well, that engine that they put on has an odometer that reads 00000 because it's brand new, right? Right. Well, this other engine is still on there. There's nothing wrong with that. But that has over 100,000 miles on it. Already. So now the scheduled maintenance is off. This engine has its own records you still got. Well, it may be due for this other engine over here. So that's where it gets tricky with the AZ, and the AZ is the aviation administrative.
I'm about to ask a crazy question. I mean, it's not really crazy.
Go for it.
You would know. Uh-huh. So you started 2 brand new engines at 0. Uh-huh. Is it possible, because of the bird strike, that both the engines the mileage could be different from each?
That's what I was just explaining.
Yeah. Damn,
yeah, remember, I say you take one engine off, mm-hmm. and you put a new engine on, that odometer reads 00000 because that engine has never flown.
It's not usable no more once the bird do it? I mean, like...
No, they're going to overall. They're going to work on it and fix it. But in the meantime, they got to probably put another engine on, mm-hmm. because, hey, we ain't got time to keep this bird down. Right. We got to still fly. Yeah. We got engines sitting back here, so let's put an engine on and keep flying. And while we work on this other engine. And so
the maintenance schedule
is off. So so that not only applies to, I just use engine as an example. Right. Mm-hmm. That may apply to the wheels, that may apply to to certain CADs, that may apply to the leading and trailing edge flaps on the aircraft. You know those things that open up, mm-hmm. the leading edge flaps and trailing edge flaps, that may apply to all that stuff. It's all kind of maintenance that needs to be done with those aircraft, all the way down to that door that opened up on its own, those boats.
That's what I was going to touch on. Yep. You know, I just can't.
One more question. I got to ask. I'm pretty sure the listeners want to know.
Go ahead.
Could that bird cause the flight to crash? Could a bird do that?
Well, it depends on what's wrong. Yeah, of course.
The type of damage.
The type of damage is done. Yeah, or whatever the stuff that goes wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could cause a bird to crash.
No, I'm talking about the actual airplane, like actual what we fly.
Yeah, you talking about the bird strike?
Like if it hit one of the engines, will it cause us?
It depends. It depends because the engine may. Okay, so y'all remember back in the day, we used to do what they call FOD walk down.
Yes.
Now FOD walk down for our listeners is called foreign object damage. Now, foreign object could be as small as a bobby pin that can get sucked up in the intake of an aircraft that can damage an aircraft. You can have something as small as a little bolt that can get sucked up in the intake and can damage an aircraft. So when you say, can it cause it to crash, it just depends on the type of damage that it caused, you know. But at the end of the day, it's still hazardous. It's still dangerous.
Yeah,
so that's why we would have those FOD walk downs.
Because I didn't think about that for commercial flights when I take my flights.
Yeah, bird strikes and stuff. Yeah, they have bird strikes all the time.
But see, that's what puzzles me, Freddie G, with you saying that there's routine schedules and maintenance that's constantly being done on the aircraft. And I do recall, now that you mentioned it, you know, how much it was done being stationed over there at the squadron. I didn't physically do it myself, but I was able to see just how, like I say, every day, they were never off the machine. There was something being done to a machine. So, again, for it to be happening as often as it's happening nowadays,
Remember when I asked you at the beginning to reflect back, right?
Yeah.
And I said, think about the people who were working on those aircraft, right? Now, I'm going to use myself for an example. There are many days that when I used to drink, especially if I've been partying in Tijuana, and I would get to work hungover, sleepy. Now, keep in mind, I actually am the person who has all of the records, and I got to see what maintenance is done. I got to make sure my math, because it requires a lot of math too when it comes to the engines and the numbers and the logging the flight hours and stuff. And so a lot of math, right? Let's say I come in one of my hungover days. Not let's say, yeah, I have come in on my hungover days, just drunk and still lit up, right?
Right.
And I miss something. Well, I may miss a scheduled maintenance to where, and I haven't in that instance, and I forgot to tell these people to go out there and go do the work. Well, that starts with me. I miss the scheduled maintenance. So think about the workers. There's a worker, says some of them niggas I was partying with.
So,
You know, like the ADs, well, the guys that work on the engines. I was out there partying when they were drinking with me.
so if a finger being pointed, then it's gonna be on somebody that was supposed to be doing that
They're
scheduled
gonna start. They're
maintenance.
gonna
They'll
start
start
with
with you.
them. They're gonna start with me. I'm gonna have the logs and records on on everything, and then I'm gonna see who signed off on the work, who worked on this, so who did this and who did that. So I'll have everybody who signed off on it, and then the actual all the way down to the actual person who tightened up the screw.
Right.
And then that person has a supervisor that signed off on his work or her work.
It's a paper trail everywhere.
Yeah. So it's gonna get like 3 signatures.
Do you recall when you were stationed at the squadron of any incidences of this nature, or because I can't recall none at all the time that I was there.
I can recall where a lot of our birds went down for whatever, not like crashed down, but maintenance wasn't done properly or something wasn't working after this particular person signed off that they did the work.
Right.
And then when the pilots took off in flight, they had to come back and land because just 5 or 10 minutes into the flight, hey, this is not working. So they had to turn around and say, hey, this is not working. And it's like, damn, you signed off on that it's working. So they got to go back and, that happens all of the time.
So can you say the punishment for someone that's lacking on doing or derelict on doing something they were supposed to be doing in regards to the maintenance on that plane? Is it severe or is it just slap on the wrist type of thing?
It really depends, man, because sometimes you can go and do some work on something and you really truly do the work. And when you check the work and the work check, it actually was working. And then the pilot goes out and get into flight, and then whatever you said you worked on no longer works, and they got to turn around and land the plane. Well, it could have been something else that's wrong in addition to what you worked on that wasn't discovered. So now you know that, okay, what he worked on actually still works. So it got to be something else. We initially thought that it was this. He fixed this, but now we're still having the same issue, so it may not be this. So when you ask if the punishment severe or not, it really truly depends.
You have to look. It's people's lives that's at stake, and I know that they do several inspections once maintenance is done. But you just broke down a whole hell of a lot of details that I'm sure a lot of our listeners had no knowledge of, and I appreciate that. And it gave me a bigger insight. But I don't know if you had a fear of flying, prior to hearing of any of these incidences, but I can imagine anybody that already had a fear of flying, definitely this type of news doesn't help.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
I've always had a fear of flying, but I've flown a lot, even onto the ships.
Right. That's an experience I've never had.
I got a cat and a trap, catapult and trap on the ship.
In K Money, I'm gonna tell you this. Everything he's saying is consistent, right? Because I've been in I flew a lot when I was in the military. A lot. And 2 times I've been in situations where I shouldn't be here. Thank God I'm still here. Appreciate that. I really appreciate it. But one time was on a MAC flight. Those are military flights. The MAC flights are the ones we used to get for, what was they, $5 or free or something like that. Mm-hmm. I almost passed on one of them. And then another one was commercial with, I ain't going to say what airline, but 2 times. But I will say this, both times, and I'm going to segue to the Nepal plane crash, Flight 619. If you go look it up, they actually have the whole chilling video on there all the way to the plane crash. Go look at it. It's only I think it's only like 1 minute and 47 seconds. But I'm saying that to say, during plane crashes, bro, y'all will be surprised. No one panics. No one panics. So the man straight up came up on this thing and said, hey, our front wheel is not coming out. We're going to have to belly land. We might make it. We might not. His exact words. No one panicked.
You mean none of the passengers?
No, none of the passengers. None of us.
So you were on that plane.
I was on that plane. Okay.
And you didn't panic.
I didn't panic. No, I didn't even get nervous. That was the crazy part. I didn't even get nervous. It was like I accepted it.
So the plane was going down.
Yeah, so he said it wasn't going down. He said the front wheel is not okay. So he had a problem with the front. That's
it wouldn't
the front
come out.
one wheel.
Gear.
Yeah, it wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
So he said all the other wheels are coming out, but the front wheel is that one wheel wasn't coming out.
Right.
So he's saying, well, we probably have to belly land because I think only one of the wheels are coming out, something on the front. So it's a possibility we might have to belly land. He said we might. He was straight up. We might make it, might not. No one panicked. Nobody said, oh no. No one said nothing. It wasn't until we got on land, nothing happened. We safe landing. That's when all the screaming started. I ain't gonna lie, it was like 7 fire trucks out there. It's
So
like
y'all had
4
to
ambulances.
exit.
It was 4 ambulances, 7 fire trucks, but everybody, we're walking, we're on ground, we out of the plane, and they screaming
Y'all
and
had to
hollering.
exit on the little blow up slide.
Yeah, no, I'm talking. We're walking off the plane like regular exiting,
you can get off the plane.
and they're screaming, "Oh my God, we alive! What are y'all screaming for?" I don't understand people both times.
I can tell you that right after I finished my first duty station, no, I just finished cruise, right? And so we had made it to Hawaii. And so I was taking 2 weeks leave. Now, our ship was supposed to leave from Hawaii back to San Diego. And so, but I had already finished my first tour, my first term, and I was transferring to another duty station. So I flew a commercial airlines. I didn't have to be back with the ship no more because my time in the middle, for that first tour was up.
Right.
So I flew from Hawaii to San Diego, and from San Diego to Houston on a commercial airline, right? But when you say the panic part, when you didn't panic, no panic, man, and this was night. This was a night flight. Man, we hit an air pocket. And that thing dropped, bro.
No,
When I tell you, everybody, including me, I cursed. I was like, God, shit.
now that's
Now,
different.
That's some scary shit.
Now the air
man.
pockets is different, but if you gotta understand, we are smooth. Understand this: if a smooth flight, you're landing. Ain't no droppage, ain't no nothing. It's just a regular smooth flight. He's just telling you the wheel's not coming out. If nothing's shaking or bouncing, there's nothing to
Hey,
panic.
but you guys don't hear this, right?
Huh?
The passengers don't hear this, right?
Yeah, he already came over the loudspeaker. The guy came over and said this, and they still didn't panic. That's what I'm trying to say. Even after he says it, if you go look at the and I told you about Flight 619, go look it up, Nepal.
Okay.
If you look, the engine is on fire on the side, right on the left, but the plane's not rocking.
Right.
And everybody see the fire, they be like, "Oh my God!" But they're not panicking. The same thing. Even when they land and it happen, and people, you hear a little scream, but it's still no panic even after the crash.
Here goes something that was live, right? That I thought was real smooth as a pilot. They even made a movie, right? Remember that pilot? he landed. He said, "We're gonna be in the Hudson."
Yeah.
He landed the plane in the Hudson River, and nobody died.
Right,
Yes.
right. And they got that
And
famous
he was-
picture with the
Yeah.
passenger
Yeah.
standing on top of him.
Man.
Didn't he get in
just-
trouble, too?
He was so calm.
Yeah.
He was a hero.
Yeah, but he got in trouble after that. That same pilot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got
He
in
was
trouble.
on that shit.
No, he did. I don't know.
He got in trouble for something else.
Yeah, he got in trouble for something else.
I
Not
didn't know that.
something
I
else
didn't know
related.
that.
Yeah.
But just how calm he was when he was talking to air traffic control. Saying we're going to be in the
Yeah.
Hudson.
I mean, and that's how they have to be. But when you mentioned air pocket earlier, man, that reminded me of probably my worst flying experience, and that's when I first got into the military. When I went, I think I went from Houston to Meridian, Mississippi, and I was on one of those small planes.
Yeah, I know that. I
You know,
did
with
know
the
it.
propellers.
Yeah,
You feel every goddamn thing on
Yup.
those planes. You know what I'm saying? And that was like one of my second experiences flying.
I'm laughing because I was in Meridian with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and I know that plane. It's like you was in the cockpit with him, man.
like, oh, nah, man, I can't get on this one. But I want to thank y'all for joining us, man. And if y'all do decide to fly, hopefully, I pray everything goes well and you have a safe flight. Peace out. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode of Women Wednesday with Freddie G. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Sky Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Sky Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. And to all my 52 Sky faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.